Good afternoon to everyone. Today's topic that it is going to be brought, it is called the crisis as a learning, where the position in favor will uphold how it changed the way we are, live, consume, create relationships, consume as a society, and as human beings, while the side against will uphold that there won't be any change in our way of being, consume, and create relationships. To open this debate, it is clearly that the current pandemic it is greatly alternating the world. Human suffering will be followed by economic consequences that will change our way of life. The world will never be the same again, and the companies will function differently, both before and after the vaccine is found.
COVID-19 is causing unprecedented impacts in most regions of the world. The speed of its contagion and the different measures to contain it have led to a global emergency at the health level, which in turn generates important effects at the social, economic, and a political level. In addition to the climate emergency or the refugee crisis, among others.
As today's proposition, millions of people will be acquire some work at home experience, and many of them will be aware of the benefits of remote work. There will also be people more in need of human contact who may not go to the office every day, but will want to work there some days of the week. 60% of the companies in Mexico consider leaving the traditional work model to move to the flexible offices, in addition to Mercy's survey of return to work in Mexico. Ultimately, companies will have to remodel everything, including their policies and infrastructure. Consequently, the new normal will be different than what we are used to.
As opposite side, we claim that confinement generates a loss of routine, a reduction in social and physical contact, frustration, boredom, and a feeling of loneliness that can be difficult for many people to manage. Right now, because of the pandemic, businesses had to change to a work from a home model, and people say that it'll give you experience, but that's not true. Cognitive imaging studies have found that spending too much screen time will lead to less efficient information processing. Mexico also has one of the first places in obesity. Staying at home can worsen that. As little as 2 hours of TV a day can increase the risk of weight gain, diabetes, and heart disease in adults. We also have to keep in mind that teenagers, they are living a delicate period in their lives in which their social environment and interaction with their peers are important for brain development, mental health, and the development of a sense of self, as bring with it a rise in insecurity of 26.5% during lockdown.
As a second proposition, we want to state that the spread of COVID-19 has alarmed millions of people because of the number of deceased there has been. These people are now scared of even stepping a foot outside of their houses. This is because, according to BBC News, Mexico has surpassed 20,000 deaths as a consequence of coronavirus, and it is among the top 5 countries in Latin America with the highest rates of deceased. People are not only living normal lives as they one day did, they are now fearing not only for their lives, but also their loved ones' lives. As these families are being confined, they are also taking advantage from it. These families are learning to interact and do more activities as a happy family would. They are also learning more about one another and they're gaining values and love.
The second proposition speaker has told us that pandemic has alarmed millions of people because of the number of deaths that there has been. On the contrary, according with Daniel Ineriti, professor of the political philosophy at the UPB, mentions that the society has worked on the basis of incentives and pressures that attends to what is urgent but doesn't know about latent and silent consequences, albeit they may be more such decisive than immediate dangers, instead long-term consequences, meaning this that people is just reacting by a moment and not for future. On the other hand, according to El Financiero, data post-pandemic changes will be minimal since during it, the population is not responsible for the measures of healthy distance and confinement, since 69% of the population continues to go regularly to the market as well 41% uses public transport, and only the 60% respects quarantine responsibly, leading us to have, since past pandemics and the severity of the misuse of resources, the death of 88,743 people until October of the current year, having a rate above the world average reported by WHO, corresponding to 2.7%, bringing up with this the development of different diseases and a rise on insecurity of 26.5% during lockdown, as my first speaker already mentioned to you.
Still, the confinement has led to schools being closed, and students and teachers have had to resort to online courses, a trend that may continue due to the accessibility and flexibility this provides. Some research published by Web showed that students retain 25 to 60% more material when learning online, compared to just 8 to 10% in a classroom. This is mainly because students can learn faster online. E-learning takes 40 to 60% less time than traditional classroom because students can learn at their own pace, backing up and rereading, skipping and speeding through the concepts of their choice. In addition, there's the fact that they do not have to waste time in transfer, which makes it easier in case of larger cities to have a better and more relaxed attitudes to learn.
Yeah, I agree with you. But although the contingency made online classes a necessity, this measure was taken without taking into consideration the lack of possibilities and infrastructure, as well as the lack of preparation in the country. According to INEGI data, only 45% of Mexican homes have a computer, while 48% do not have internet. There are students who live in remote areas where they not only lack internet, but also electricity. Furthermore, not all teachers are knowledgeable about new technologies, which make it difficult to learn content in the digital classroom, affecting the students' learning experience.
We believe in the position in favor, that there will be a change in the world, and in all the people due the situation in which we are living, for the reasons we have already mentioned, from how the companies have realized that they can work from home and still achieve their levels of productivity, as well as the consequences that the social distancing brings on people's behavior, to the way in which schools adapt to this change with online courses succeeding. The world will be different in terms of habits and response to consumer problems.
As we have come to the end of the debate, we as the opposite position believe that after the current situation there will be not any change for the reasons already mentioned. Since insecurity has increased and the economy collapsed, therefore the usage of technologies has been present for a long time, so it will not bring with it new developments, as the new digital reality has revealed that the potential is limitless, and education has perhaps never experienced such a promising time, making emphasis that society has been controlled through fear and false information. Thank you so much for your attention.